Oh.
Look, everybody, look who's back again.
Hi, I'm Heidi, for those of you who may be new here, or if you just don't remember because it's been almost 2 years since my last video. So a lot has happened in almost 2 years. I graduated, and then I had a herniated disc replaced in my spine, and then we had to postpone our wedding, and then we bought a house, and then we did finally get married, and then we got a puppy, and that puts us to about here. Anyways, I went to Target yesterday and I bought a dress without trying it on because I'm lazy, and I thought it was gonna be really cute, but then I got home and I tried it on and it wasn't. And I was really mad about it because I really wanted it to be what I pictured in my head, and I have things going on later this week that I had already like cemented in my brain that I was gonna wear this dress. So that was a problem. So I was so mad I went back out and bought fabric, and so I'm gonna make my own. And that's what we're gonna do today. Okay, so this is the dress, and unfortunately this is the fabric that I bought because there wasn't anything closer to this color without being a lot darker, and I didn't want it darker because that feels really wintry, so I did buy some dye, and we're gonna see if we can match this. I'm gonna go do a little test. Okay, I just finished the dye test and I didn't film it because I thought I was gonna have to do it a million times, but actually it came out like nearly perfect. Okay, so here's the dress, and here is the fabric. It doesn't look as close on camera, but I promise it is. Okay, well, I'm gonna go dye the rest of it, and I'm probably just gonna leave it in a little bit longer because it is not quite as dark, but it's pretty close. So dyeing the fabric did take me until like 8 p.m. the other night, and then I had to actually get real work done. So unfortunately the dress missed out on going to a delightful girls' night dinner, but I am hoping that it can make an appearance at a baby shower tomorrow, even though it's still just a piece of fabric. Also, yes, I did get my hair done the other day and it's darker now. You're not crazy. So I started out by taking some measurements of the front panel of the bodice so that I could create my own pattern to recreate this. I also then did the same process with the back panel and sketched it out on some muslin so I can make a mock-up and just make sure that everything fit correctly before I cut into my green fabric. And I sketched in the darts here and then pinned and sewed those together before sewing together the sides and the shoulder seams, but leaving the back open where the zipper would go. So it's not that bad. I think I could take it in probably a tiny bit, like maybe in the darts here. And I do want the neckline lower. So I may just like bring it up in the sleeve or down. I may make some more room in the sleeve so that this sits lower. But other than that, it's not that bad. All right, here we go. I did the shoulder seams at like a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I just cut the neckline down so it sat lower and did more of like a scoop V rather than like, and then I cut the back to kind of mimic that shape. I did put a seam here just to bring it in a little bit because it was still a little big, and I added darts in the back just because we're losing the elastic waistband, so it was a little big there. I think it's good to go. So my phone ran out of space and stopped recording, of course. So all I did here was, put these down, and I marked, what are you doing? Sorry, dogs. Mark the darts, and then you probably can't see this, but there's thread marking the points for the darts so that it's on there but not drawn on there. So I'm gonna see if my camera battery is done charging so I can stop worrying that stuff isn't being filmed. So I cut those pieces out and then just repeated the process of creating the mock-up, but with a lot more ironing. So I pressed the darts and then pinned them and then sewed them and then pressed the seams and then pressed them open and then just repeated all of this with the sides, the pinning, and then the sewing, and then the pressing. A lot of pressing, a lot of ironing, every single seam. All right. Oh, sorry, I have shaky hands. Now that the bodice is done, I'm gonna work on the skirt and save the ruffle for last. So let me figure out the skirt. So I did the same process with the skirt. I took a lot of measurements, but this was trickier because of the gathering and because there's a curve. And really the only kind of curve I know how to do is for a circle skirt. So I just did that to see how it would work. Spoiler, it didn't. It was too full. But when I took the measurements for this panel that's underneath the ruffles, the curve in that ended up working out really well for everything. So once I sketched that out, I just took it and ran with it and used it for absolutely everything. The flat panels, the ruffle panels, and for the ruffle on the neckline as well. So what I did was sew those ends together so that I had one big loop and then gathered the top of it and then pinned it to the flat panel and just made sure all the gathering fit together really nicely and then stitched over the top of it so that we ended up with the flat panel with the gathered ruffle attached to the bottom, and I just kept repeating this process until I had all my ruffles. So it's like 6:15 and I was cutting out the pieces for the ruffles on the skirt and I ran out of fabric, which means I need to buy more fabric and dye it before I can finish the dress. So I am here to see my good friend Joanne. So these are the pieces that I had to work with while the rest of the fabric was dyeing, so I figured I would start assembling the skirt, just attaching the ruffles to the flat panels in tiers, basically like you just saw, but repeated and with a little more precision. And then I went ahead and just finished the armholes. I just did a little 1/4 inch fold twice so there were no raw edges, pressed it and sewed it as best I could, which was difficult because it was curved, but at the end of the day there's a ruffle over the top of the shoulder so you can't see it anyway, so it's fine. Alright, it is 11 o'clock at night and I just pulled the freshly dyed fabric out of the dryer. Is it exactly the same shade as the rest of the dress? Probably not, but we're gonna work with it. So here is where we're at. All things considered, we're like in pretty good shape. I just have to do the last tier on the skirt because this is just a little too short. And the ruffle and then the zipper, which is where I usually ruin everything, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. I hope I finish relatively soon because I would like to sleep tonight. Alright, it is like 8:30. I finished the dress at 3:58 this morning. I have to get ready because the baby shower is at 11:30. I have to leave here by 11, I think. Let me make myself presentable and then I can show you the dress finally. Hi, okay, so I didn't have time to shoot like a dress reveal before the baby shower because I took forever getting ready. So we're gonna do that now, even though she's already had her debut. But I have to show you the Target dress first, and then we can compare. I did think about showing you the Target dress before I got ready this morning, but then I thought, you know what, that's not fair. We're equal opportunity here. I'm gonna show you the Target dress styled exactly the same way as I styled my dress so that everything is fair. Ugh, I'm stuck. Do I have to go over the head? Ugh. I made it. All right. Let's see. All right, here we go. This is Target dress. So let's talk about what's going on here. Number one, the elastic waistband. I hate it. I prefer a fitted bodice and then skirt. So I already knew immediately that I wanted a zipper. The waistline is way too high. These are my ribs. My waist is down here. That's a significant difference. It's not fitted like I wanted it. you know? Sorry, I'm looking at the mirror over there. Should have turned it, but I didn't. So yeah, this is Target. I'm gonna put mine back on. Over here. And this is mine. Mine has zipper down the back. I made it come to kind of a V. Is it perfect? No. Do I love it? Yes. Alright, sorry, my camera battery died again, so we're back to filming on my phone. But like I said, this dress is not perfect, and that's okay, because I made it. One time in high school, I made a dress, and I wore it to school, and a friend of mine said, "Oh, did you make that?" And I said, "Yeah, I did." And he was like, "Oh yeah, it looks homemade." Not in a bad way, it just looks like you made it. And I was like, yeah, no, I get it. But I honestly believe that if you're going to take the time to make something yourself, it should look homemade in a way. Like, there is so much technology these days and anything can be made and you can buy pretty much anything and it's perfect and great. But I feel like if you're gonna take the time to make something yourself, it should have that like quality of human touch to it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like, I am not a professional. I am mostly self-taught. I took one sewing course in college, a costume construction course. And so when people say to me like, "Oh, wow, I wish I could sew." Like, you can. Like, yes, I have a sewing machine, but after that, it's really just a series of problem solving until I have a thing that I like. Anyway, all this to say, if you want to make a thing, I think you should make the thing. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It probably won't be. You'll probably mess up a million times and it won't come out exactly how you thought, but that is fine. That is good. That is how it should be. And don't say that you can't do a thing just because you've never done it before. Because you can always just steal your mom's sewing machine and old dirty sheets out of the linen closet and see what happens, because that's what I did. Anyways, I think it's puppy time. You guys want to have puppy time? Come here. Puppy time. This is puppy time. Yeah, no, you have to. Oh, okay, you gotta look at the camera though, because I want people to see the puppies. Here's the new one. This is Lady. She's a little baby. Reggie, you wanna say hi? Say hi to the camera. No, there's no one here. What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, oh, I love my babies. Oh, don't leave my ear. Okay, that's all. Excuse me. Bye.